What's good? What's going on, everybody? We back in the building. Let me ask y'all a question. Ain't even gonna tell y'all no lie. So, let's try this real quick. I thought we had solved this problem. So let's try something real quick. I want y'all to tell me if there's an echo.
Cigar lit, bit thick, champion of the click. Logic sharp, metaphor slick, never miss a trick. Angryman and blueprint, they just tryna mimic. Standard so high, they can't even scrimmage. OG on the tube, wisdom like a blade. Cut through the noise, every word tailor-made. Analogies, hit like bricks in a array. Built this.
What about now?
No handout, self-made. Masculine moves, they tremble when he speaks. Cash flow deep, they drown in his peaks. Big game strong, sharper than critiques. Cigar smoke rising, greatness at its peak. They watch, they learn, they can't comprehend.
Interesting. All right, so you guys let me know if my mic is loud enough. Is my mic loud enough right there? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay, cool. Cool. Let me start out by giving a shout out to Jay Locked In. He said, at work, on the road, paying it forward, OG.
That's that BINO energy.
Well, it's a lot better than we usually do.
All right, chums up.
Ready, guys?
Let's do this. Leroy Jenkins.
Shout out to the brother Jay Locked In. I definitely appreciate you for being a sponsor of the show. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I was getting ready to do this show at 9 o'clock, and I realized the game was on. So because the game was on, I tried to push it back as far as I could because I wanted to see who was going to win the game, even though I noticed that the Spurs were cheating. And then it got to the point where I almost wasn't going to do the stream. I almost wasn't going to do it. I was going to cook me a steak with a baked potato and some broccoli. And I was going to eat and go to sleep. That's what I was going to do. But what made me decide to go ahead and do this show anyway, and I'm not even going to front, it's one of my biggest motivators in life, right? I knew that the thumbnail, let me see if I can pull up this thumbnail. Let's see if we can pull it up. Let's pull up the thumbnail. I knew this thumbnail and this story was going to piss you niggas off. And you know who you niggas are. You know who you are. You're watching from the clouds. You know who you are. Because there's one thing that I love more than anything in this world. I love being right. I love it. Every time I'm right about something, it's just a wonderful day. And so I had to do this show. Even though I've been cranking out a whole lot of content and I'm honestly tired, but it's always like that when you try to ramp up your output productivity. At first, it's taxing. But if you could just get through it, if you can get through it, if you can get through it in order to get used to working that much, it becomes easy. So I'm kind of in that little phase, right? Where I'm cranking out mad content and I got to get used to it. But shout out to everybody that's here tonight. Shout out to everybody that came through. I definitely appreciate you guys for tuning into the show. As always, make sure you guys are supporting the show. Y'all already know how we do. Anybody that drops 20 or more will be part of the BINO roll call. We try to get at least 10 people to participate in the roll call at the beginning of the show. So definitely make sure you're participating in that. We will read those messages first, unless you are a sponsor or a super sponsor of the show. If you're a sponsor or super sponsor, we will read your message immediately. In order to be a sponsor, you have to drop 100 or more. In order to be a super sponsor, you have to drop 500 or more. Your message will get read instantly, and we will put you on the board and celebrate you tremendously. Trust and believe. But a while back, right around the time that this story first happened, we first found out about Karmelo Anthony in this entire situation. It wasn't long after that his daddy and his mama went on this victimhood tour. That's the only way to really say it. That's the only way to like. And it's really interesting to me because when I really think about it, it bugs me out because their son took somebody's life. And they were doing press conferences like they had lost their son. Do y'all remember when I was covering this back when it first happened? And trust and believe, there was a whole bunch of black folk that was mad, that was angry with me. They was mad at me. Angry man, you ain't shit. Angry man, you raggedy. How you gonna talk about that young brother like that? But his mom and his daddy, they went on this whole press tour, and they're still on a press tour. And they started raising money. And so not long after they started raising money, there was some allegations that came out. There was some rumors. One rumor was that they moved into a $900,000 house. So allegedly, after this situation happened, they moved into a $900,000 house. It was also stated that they allegedly purchased a brand new Cadillac Escalade. Now, the moment that this was said, you had all kinds of people coming out of the woodwork saying, that's not true. They don't even have access to the money. Right? That money was supposed to be for legal counsel, so they didn't use it for nothing personal. So my question was this. When you go look up what the purpose was for that money, do y'all remember what it was? Do y'all remember what was said? Does anybody remember what was said? Anybody? Somebody put it in the chat. I want somebody to go ahead and put it in the chat for me. What was the reason that they said they needed the money? What was the reason? In fact, you know what? Let me just go over to Claude. Let me just go over to Claude real quick. When the Karmelo Anthony family first started raising money for their son's legal defense, what did they say the purposes of the money was for? So this says, when the Help Karmelo official fund went on the Give Send Go organized by Karmelo's mother, Kayla Hayes, about 2 weeks after the stabbing, the page was explicit that it was not dedicated solely to legal expenses. The stated purpose said that while legal defense is a critical part of this journey, the fund is not solely dedicated to legal expenses, and the funds raised will also support a range of urgent and necessary means, including but not limited to the safe relocation of the Anthony family due to escalating threats to their safety and well-being, as well as basic living costs, transportation, counseling, and other security measures. So, with that being said, to all of you contrarian Negroes, here's my question. When the rumor came out that they bought a $900,000 house and a new Escalade, and y'all said, that's not true. Here's my question. If the Give, Send, Go stated that some of the money would be used for the safe relocation of the Anthony family, here's my question. When you relocate a family, where do you relocate them to? Can a family stay in the same house when you relocate them? How do you relocate a family unless they move into another house? I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. It makes logical sense to me. My field light is not bright enough. Hold on, you guys. So they explicitly stated that the money would not be used strictly for legal defense. The funds raised will also support a range of urgent and necessary means, including but not limited to the safe relocation of the Anthony family due to escalating threats to their safety and the well-being, as well as basic living costs, in other words, bills, and transportation. Does a Cadillac Escalade classify as transportation? I'm going to ask again. Does a Cadillac Escalade classify as transportation? So what I'm trying to figure out is why was everybody so bent out of shape when somebody said, hey, they used some of that money. They allegedly used some of that money to move into a $900,000 house. They allegedly used some of that money to buy a Cadillac Escalade. Why was everybody bent out of shape when they literally put it on the Give, Send, Go what they was going to do with it? And how did they move into anything or buy anything if they didn't have access to the money? See, the funny thing is somebody got online and said, oh, that's a lie. They didn't have access to the money. And then later we found out that was a lie. They actually did have access to the money initially. And we still have to deal with the fact that Karmelo had a crap legal defense. So we got to ask the question, if They set up a give, send, go, and I'm pretty sure that's not the only way they accepted money. I'm pretty sure people was cash apping them, all types of shit. But if they set up a give, send, go where they explicitly stated that they were not going to just use that money for a legal defense, those are not my words, those are their words. And it's possible that they moved into a different house under the guise of they didn't feel safe in the old house, and quite possibly got a Escalade because they needed transportation and paid a bunch of bills because that was included up there, living costs. They actually collected $600K before the trial even started. So again, my question, and the question, well, it's not a question to other folks. Other folks are mad that he had a crappy legal team, but they're not asking the question. I don't know if you noticed, but all of these black folk that talk about this situation, they will admit that he had a horrible legal defense. They will admit that his lawyers wasn't shit. But you know the one thing they not doing? They not saying, where did the money go? Why wasn't he able to get a good legal defense when they collected over $500,000 before the trial even started? Do you notice that the Negroes ain't asking this question? Do you notice this? It's kind of like when you in a family that got that creepy ass uncle and the kids don't like to be around him. But instead of you saying, why don't the kids like being around his ass? You rather sit there and act like you don't know what time it is. You'd rather sit there and be like, oh man, them kids, they always act like that when Chester come around. I don't know why they act like that when he come around. You know why they act like that when he come around. You just don't want everybody else to know why. So again, y'all claim y'all care so much about Karmelo, but here's my question. What do you care more about? Carmelo Anthony or keeping the lie alive? Which one do you care about the most? Do you care about Carmelo Anthony getting a appeal, or do you care about continuing to pretend that black folk ain't doing what they doing? What's more important? The image of black folk or the actual black folk? Which more? What's more important? And what the fuck is your problem? Daryl H9B. You damn right I got a point. That's what happens when you speak the truth. That's what happens when you speak the truth. See, what's hilarious to me is that I could sit up here. And while I'm sitting here doing a show, I could say, hey man, if you like the show, support the show, donate to the show, and people will come and they'll say, Angry Man, you grifting. And I'll be like, how am I grifting? What am I doing this grifting? Well, you know certain people are gonna have the same opinion as you. So when you do your show and you give those opinions, you know that the people that agree with your opinion is gonna give you money. Kind of like if I know people like certain types of clothing, so I open a business selling certain types of clothing, or I know people need a certain type of service, so I offer that certain type of service. Yeah. That's not grifting. That's actually called supply and demand. Well, no, it's grifting. Have y'all noticed that everybody on the internet is a grifter? But the moment this black boy, whose parents raised over $600,000, goes to court with one of the worst lawyers on planet Earth, all of a sudden the word grifter has vanished from the black lexicon. Ever since this Karmelo Anthony situation has happened, I haven't heard a single person say grifter. It did happen before. It happened in 73. Well, what do you expect? You have a Muslim mayor. Yeah, I'd started to do a short about that. I started to say, today we have a Muslim mayor in New York is the day the Knicks will win a championship. This is me in 2003. This is me in 2003. Do your research, AM. Who are you talking to? Who is this nigga talking to? Who is this Negro talking to? Let me see what he was saying in the chat. He said a hate crime bill for all FBAs. Then he said reparations for all black FBAs. Then he said, and we will get it, trust me. And then he said, do your research. Yo, they need to reopen. They need, you know what we need to invest in? We need to invest in more insane asylums. We need to invest in more insane asylums. Like real talk. We need to make nut houses great again. Like for real. And why am I almost an hour into the show, 30 minutes into talking, and nobody else has contributed to the show? What's going on? What's really good? What's really good? We got 3 people for the BINO roll call. What's going on? What's really going on? That right there is a lie. That's a lie. That right there is a lie. That right there is a lie. That right there is a lie. That's a lie from the pits of hell. There we go. 3-man podcast. There we go. We got 2 people on the BINO roll call. Got 2 people. Now we just need 5 more people. Oh, wait a minute. Let me look over here. We might have another person over here. No. Oh yeah, there we go. We got another person. We only need 4 people now. We only need 4 people now, and I can get back to cooking. Now here's my question. Is there a bunch of you good people of the community in the chat room right now upset because I'm talking about something that you don't like? Nita said, AM, hope you don't mind me asking, but can I expect my book to be delivered this week? Hold on one second, because I've got names written down here. Okay, so Nita, here's the situation. The night that everybody was on Trey's stream and everybody wanted a book, I had 5 books, and I said this that night. You probably didn't see it, but I had 5 books. So I said 5 of you would get your books right away. The rest of you are going to have to wait until I get more books in. So I have more books that are being delivered tomorrow. So you're one of the people that didn't get your book sent out when it was the 5 that I had. Because I thought I had 20 left, but I had 5 left. So I sent out 5. You were on the list. You didn't get your book right away. But The books will come in tomorrow. And when they come in tomorrow, you will definitely be one of the people that will have your book shipped out Monday. Yeah. See, Mama was one of the first 5 people. She was one of the first 5 people. So she got her book already. So they'll be in tomorrow. And once they come in tomorrow, I'm going to send them out the very next day. Would send them out tomorrow, but tomorrow's Sunday. So but going back to what I was saying, is there a portion of you, and by the way, if y'all are wondering why I'm dragging and not cooking, because we're still waiting on support. That's why. I don't know how many, like, it shouldn't have taken this much conditioning. But y'all should realize I cook way better when we actually get support. When we get support at the beginning of the show and I don't have to stop to ask people for support, I can just cook. I can just do the show. I can just do the show. You feel me? But like I was saying, and shout out to my man Harold. Appreciate you, broski. Appreciate that.
That's that BINO energy.
Oh, it's a lot better than we usually do.
All right, chums, I'm
ready, guys.
Let's do this. Leroy Jenkins.
Shout out to Harold for being the second sponsor of the show. I definitely appreciate you, bro. And with that contribution, I guess we can speed it up and cook a little faster. But like I said, before my wife came in here to tell me that the Knicks won, I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Something is fishy. Something's fishy. Something doesn't smell quite right. It just doesn't. And I find it really interesting. Like I said, the moment this Karmelo Anthony, because I'm going to tell you the truth, I thought he was going to have one of the illest legal defenses on the planet. The moment I saw how much money they raised, I'm like, oh, he about to have a ill. And look, I'm going to keep it real with you. I knew they wasn't going to spend all of that money on legal defense. I knew that. I knew that. I knew they was going to spend some of that money on bullshit. I knew it. I just find it disingenuous that black folk acting like they didn't know it. But again, it goes back to what I've been saying all along, because I'm one of the only people that has been talking about this. And I'm not talking about the Karmelo Anthony case. Everybody's been talking about that. What I've been bringing up, what I've been talking about on a regular basis is the fact that black folk have a new hustle. the same way in the 80s, you had a bunch of boomers that were hooked on drugs because they did so much partying in the 70s, right? When Gen X saw how the boomers were hooked on drugs, they took the opportunity to capitalize on it. Because what did they say back in the day? What did Sticky Fingers say in that song? Because if rap don't pay, I'ma start selling drugs around my way, killing my own people in the USG. Shit, they gonna get it from somebody. It might as well be me. Sticky Fingers. That's what he said. That was the mentality. The boomers were going to be hooked on drugs anyway, so you might as well capitalize on it. That was the mentality back then. And see, nowadays you have a different problem. Nowadays, the problem you have is you have a bunch of young black boys that are living YN culture. You got a bunch of young black boys that's going to go out here, cut up, do stuff they ain't supposed to do, get prosecuted, or possibly lose their life. So instead of the black community trying to come up with a solution to combat the proliferation of YN culture, they said, well, they're going to act the fool anyway. We might as well get paid off of it. They're going to go out here and commit crimes anyway. We might as well get paid off of it. They're going to go out here and lose their life anyway. We might as well get paid off of it. And y'all know this is not a stretch of the imagination. Every single time one of these young YNs end up losing their life, right? There's always a press conference, and there's always the mama standing up there about to pass out. And let me tell you something. The black mama doing the press conference because her son just lost his life is as predictable as the chick that's going to run to the backstage and fall out after Maury tells her that the child is not, that her baby daddy ain't the father. You can set your watch by it. I'm going to say that again. The black mama doing the press conference because she just lost her baby boy, and she's up there extra emotional right before they hand her the check, is as predictable as the chick getting up and running off the set and falling out after Maury tells her he is not the father. It's predictable. Go ahead and tell me I'm lying. They have figured out a way to capitalize financially off of the dysfunction of young black boys instead of fixing the shit. Now, I want you to think about how disgusting that is. Because these same Negroes that be up here on these panels and these shows defending Karmelo, they don't have a problem with these young boys, these YNs acting a fool. They don't even have a problem with their parents and their family and the community making money off of it. But they do got a problem with me talking about it. They do got a problem with me pointing it out. They do got a problem with me saying, bro, instead of just ignoring the YN issue, why don't we shun it? Why don't we in unison condemn it? Instead of what y'all normally do, which is run around here bragging about it. Yo, man, I'm going to tell you right now, man, these YNs is different. These YNs, they don't play. These YNs ain't shit. And the way y'all run around here glorifying a bunch of hooligans. Watch this. Genesee says Karmelo wasn't a YN. Yeah, I know. He was pretending to be one. He was pretending to be one. But see, here's the thing. They're all YNs until they get in trouble. I'm going to say that again. They're all YNs until they get in trouble. Once they get in trouble, oh, he's an honor roll student and he gets good grades. And don't use the picture of him holding the guns. Don't use the picture of him smoking the weed. You use the picture of it. Use his cap and gown picture. Genesee, let me ask you a question. Who the hell do you think you talking to? That game that y'all try to run on non-black people that ain't from the hood, that shit don't work on me. That shit don't work on me at all. Y'all haven't noticed this? Y'all haven't noticed that niggas will be the biggest, baddest, Billy badasses on the planet until they get in that courtroom. When they get in the courtroom, well, I just want to live my life and, do good and make my mama proud. I just want to. Last week, that nigga was at the video shoot with the blood in his mouth. He was texting. We up on the ops. Y'all don't want it. Y'all don't want no smoke with us. Oh, I forgot. It ain't the niggas you know. They not the YNs. It's somebody else. It's somebody else. It ain't the people you know. It ain't the people you know. Matter of fact, Genesee, you look like you young. You look like you young. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna point out, since you wanted to come in here and chime in and say Karmelo ain't a YN, now you done included yourself into it. You done included young black women into it. So let me just go ahead and add you into it, since you want to be part of the conversation. You want to know the main reason why most of these little niggas want to be YNs? Because that's what most of you young girls say you want to date. Yeah. Yeah. You think I don't see this online? The reason why most of these young black boys want to be YNs, because young black women don't want to date no lame. They want a scammer. They want a thug. They don't want somebody with a 9 to 5. Since you wanted to include yourself in the conversation, now you include it. Now you include it. Because guess what? If y'all was running around here wanting to get with, if y'all was running around here saying, ew, I don't want to be with no thug. I don't want to be with no scammer. I don't want to be with no YN. You know what they'll do? They'll stop being YNs. They'll stop being YNs. See, here's the thing. Y'all, look. Y'all ever notice, any of you that are Gen Xers, you ever notice that your kids always think you don't know shit and you don't know what you're talking about, as if you didn't live the shit already? As if you didn't go down the road. If you ain't, it's as if you haven't been down the road they're currently traveling on. Do you young niggas really think you gonna come in here and tell me some bullshit? This is like when a kid is a teenager and he gets in trouble and then he comes to his parent and he changes the story up to try to make himself look innocent. That shit only works on square parents. It don't work on niggas that was hood niggas before they became parents. The shit don't work. You can't come in here telling me nothing about Karmelo Anthony, because I'm not going to believe it. You ain't coming here telling me nothing. Because I done heard, seen, and invented every excuse known to man. Do I look like Boo Boo the Fool? Do I look like Joe Neckbone? You cannot slick a can of oil and you can't hustle a hustler. Game recognized game. I know exactly why his ass was under that tent. I know exactly what happened. And I know why he reacted the way he reacted. And there ain't now one of you niggas in existence that's going to tell me something different. You're not going to be able to tell me nothing different. I don't give a shit what nobody say. Because I can whittle it down. I can whittle it down to two motives. I can whittle it down to Austin's motive and Karmelo's motive. I can whittle it all the way down. I could break it all the way down to its bare bones. I can tell you what Austin was thinking and what Karmelo was thinking. Would you like me to tell you? Would you like me to break out the crystal ball and let you know? Because both of them was thinking some goofy shit, and they both paid for it heavily. This is what happened. Now, you can run down the list of who said what and how we got here and all of this shit. But in the moment of truth, right before Austin put his hands on Karmelo, Austin was thinking, this black boy really think I'm a chump. He don't know I'm not scared of him. I'll throw his ass out from under this tent. Karmelo was thinking, this white boy think I'm scared of him. He just don't know. I got my knife on me, and if he put his hands on me, I'ma stab the fuck out of him. That's all it was. That's all it was. And keep in mind, Austin thinking this black kid think I'm not scared of him. That's not even a racial thing. It's a cultural thing. It's a cultural thing. Karmelo saying this white boy think I'm scared of him. Him saying this white boy ain't even a racist thing. It's a cultural thing. Because culturally, white boys know that black boys think they're scared of them. And black boys know that white boys are going to try to prove they're not scared of them. It's a cultural thing. It's a cultural thing. Not a racial thing. The only reason it becomes racist and a racial thing is because the parents inject their racial bullshit into it. That's where the racial part came in. That's where the racial part came in. Anton 3.0. Oh, really? Guess what? See ya. That's all it was. That's all it was. It was two boys having a dick measuring contest. That's all it was. Now, the unfortunate part about it is one of them lost their life, and you should never have to lose your life in that type of contest, but it happens. What makes it even worse is that it was teenagers. That's all it was. That's all it was. All of the extra shit that everybody's adding to it is bullshit. All the extra shit everybody's adding to it is just a bunch of bullshit. And sometimes whenever two guys get into a pissing match, it's always good when one of them can just say, you know what? You got it, dog. And just walk the fuck away. That is always a good thing. But many dudes, regardless of color, regardless of nationality, regardless of background, they don't want to walk away because they don't want to be perceived as a punk. They don't want to be perceived as a sucker or a chump. But like I said, the biggest question that's coming out of this, because everybody's not looking at the right thing. The biggest question that's coming out of this is very simple. Very simple. Why? Why did that boy have such a raggedy defense team? Why? If you've raised that much money, why is your lawyer that raggedy? Now, if I had to guess, my guess would be, oh my God, my lights. I didn't even notice that. Let me fix my lights. Let me fix my lights. Those lights are not supposed to look like that. There we go. There we go. Anyway, like I was saying, if the parents raise that money, they raise that kind of money, and he still had a crappy lawyer. Now, my guess would be all that money started coming in, and this is just my guess. This is allegedly. I can't prove this. So this is allegedly. But if I had to guess, I would say that when that money first started coming in, they probably said to themselves, you know what? We're going to use this money for his legal defense and nothing else. But then again, that's a lie, because they put in the give, send, go that they was going to use it for other shit. See, here's the problem with this, right? And I hate to have to say this, but I got to go here. I got to go there. I got to go there. I got to go there. Should I say should I tell on the creepy uncle, y'all? Should I pull back the rug and show everybody the dirt? Should I do it? Should I do it? I'm going to say something that is going to be shocking to everyone watching this except black men. Okay? Every one of you that is not a black man, you're going to be shocked when I say this, but every black man is going to know in their heart of hearts that I'm telling the truth, and this is a possibility. In order to ask the question, if they raised over $600,000 before the trial even started, why didn't they spend the bulk of that money on his legal defense? Well, in order to ask that question, you first have to be under the assumption that they actually like him. Let me say it again. Would you like me to say it again? In order to ask that question, you have to be operating from the premise that they actually give a fuck about him in the first place. Now some of you are going to say, well, hold on, Angry Man. That's a bit too much. That's a reach. I've seen them on the news and this, that. Do you know how many dudes I grew up around whose parents in the public eye will make it seem like they care and love them to death, but behind the scenes, in private, treat those black boys like shit? And I don't even got to do no convincing, because there's a bunch of you out here right now. If I was to say, yo, how many black folk do you know that treat they black boys like shit? You ain't even got to say nothing, because I know you already done thought of at least 3 people. You done already thought of at least 3 families. Matter of fact, hold on for a second. I'm going to find this real quick. And some of you going to be like, that's messed up, Angry Man.
And then when the movie went off, I swear to God on everything under the sun, Miss Wallace was like, if that was my son, I'm glad he's dead. I was like, whoa. Word is born.
What? What is it? Biggie's mom said that?
Yeah, she said, if that was my son, I'm glad he's dead.
Let's pause right there. So what Choke No Joke is talking about is the premiere of the Notorious movie. He said he was sitting near Miss Wallace, Biggie's mother, and said when the movie was over, she basically said, if that's my son, I'm glad he's dead. In other words, if that's how he acted in real life, I'm glad he's dead. Now, what's funny to me is that the dude listening, the dude interviewing him was surprised. Choke No Joke is surprised. Many of you are surprised. I'm not fucking surprised. I'm not surprised. Anybody that's a Gen Xer and a real hip-hop head that actually listened to Biggie's lyrics know his mama didn't like him. Go ahead and tell me I'm lying. If you think Biggie's mama actually gave a damn about him, you didn't listen to those lyrics. I'm not surprised at all Or did y'all forget the Juicy video when he walked into the other room and she picked up the thing and threw it at him with the mean face? You don't remember that? Biggie said it in his lyrics. And look, I ain't gonna front. I ain't gonna front. When Biggie passed away, and she was up there talking about her son. And nigga, I was pulling one of these numbers out. When she was up there talking about her son and missing her son, I was like this. Nigga, and I know what you're gonna say. I know you're gonna say, oh, but his mom was Jamaican, they like that, and this, that. You can come up with any excuse you want to come up with. You can come up with any excuse you want to come up with. You don't find it interesting that when a black boy or black man is alive, his parents don't give a damn about him, but after he died, all of a sudden they loved him so much, and he was the apple of their eye, and he was their heart, and all of this shit. You ain't noticed this shit, bruh. See, this situation just exposes something that we all know. We just brush it under the rug. We overlook it. We pretend like it ain't there. Black community don't care about black boys. They don't give a damn about black boys. Let me tell you something. If Karmelo was Carmela Anthony, I guarantee you when they started sentencing her, them two parents would not have gotten up and walked out of that damn courthouse. Malcolm D said, AM, you think she was a fan of what Big was rapping about? No, absolutely not. In fact, she probably was jealous of him. And before y'all even try to say something, don't act like you don't know parents that's jealous of their kids' success. Could you imagine working hard and doing shit the right way and following the rules, and then your son is a drug dealer and he go to jail and all types of shit, and then boom, before you know it, all of a sudden he rich, he making money now. High school dropout, did what he wanted to do, and ends up falling ass backwards into some money. Question: did they walk out after he was cuffed and taken? No. They was not there for the complete, like they got up and walked out. They didn't even hear his what is it, victim impact statement. They didn't even hear that. They got up and walked out to go do a press conference, bro. But see, these Negroes up here on YouTube, they ain't gonna talk about that. They want to keep the focus on racism and all the other isms. They not even, bro. They left soon as the verdict was being read. Watch this. Let me go to Claude. Let me go to Claude again. Is it true that Karmelo Anthony's parents left the courthouse during the sentencing and didn't even hear the victim impact statement? Well, let me pull this up so y'all can see it. So y'all know I'm not fibbing. I'm not telling fibs. Is it true that Karmelo Anthony's parents left the courthouse during the sentencing and didn't even hear the victim impact statement? Yes, that part checks out. Multiple outlets in the courtroom confirm Anthony's parents were not in the room for the sentencing or the victim statements. CBS, which was running live updates, noted the same thing in the moment. As the defendant returned and the judge prepared to hand down the sentence, Anthony's parents were not in the courtroom. What they did show up for, his mother, Kayla Hayes, took the stand during the punishment phase as the sole witness, where she pleaded for mercy before he was sentenced, saying, "Please have mercy on my son. He's my oldest, my firstborn, my baby. I love him very much." So the sequence is what matters. So, yeah. He got up and they got up and walked out. I think his grandmother stayed in there. I think his grandmother stayed in there. Oh, that was the other part too. That was the other part too. It says, so the sequence is what matters for your angle. The mother spoke her piece asking for leniency. And then the son, and then once the 35-year sentence came down and it was time to sit and face what the Metcalf family had to say, the parents were gone. They were not present to hear Hunter Metcalf, Austin's twin brother, read his victim impact statement, telling Anthony, I want you to realize how much pain you caused me and my family. They weren't there for the mother, Megan, telling him he was lucky to get 35 years because she'd been given a life sentence without her son. They weren't there for the father, Jeff, either. One nuance worth holding so you don't overstate. This is trying to tell me how to break it down for the show. But here's the reality, and this is the sad part, right? This is what's sad about this whole thing in that particular instance. So when you have the victim impact statement, which is the brother and the parents saying how it affected them, why would you let your son sit there by himself and face that? Why wouldn't you be in there with him, right? In that moment. Why? That shit is horrible. That shit is horrible. Like you should have stayed there with him the whole time. Why not stay there with him the entire time? But again, this goes back to the other thing that I was talking about, which is the most important thing, the money. The money. The money. The money, the money, the money, the money, the money, the money, the money. The money. Why is nobody talking about the money? Why? But we're going to get to a clue as to why this issue happened with the money. We're going to get to that in a second, right? But first, let's do the BINO roll call.
BINO check. If you're in the building, show your work. Drop 20 on the Super Chat or Cash App.
Yo, shout out to Michael. He said defense bar member, so many thoughts sold out.
That's that BINO energy.
Shout out to Kendra. Kendra said BINO roll call.
That's that BINO energy.
Let's see. Shout out to Hannibal. He said, it's been a while since I caught a live AM, but I have been enjoying the replays. Keep up the good work. Appreciate you, bruh.
That's that BINO energy.
Oh, it's a lot better than we usually do.
All right, chums, I'm
ready, guys.
Let's do this. Leroy Jenkins.
Appreciate you, Hannibal. Let's see who else we got on the BINO roll call. Shout out to Mama said, I don't have extra money often, but when I do, I like to support you because you have common sense. I'm so tired of all the division. I love the songs you play before you start. I miss music like this. You and me both.
That's that BINO energy.
Shout out to 3-Man Podcast. He says, salute. Appreciate you.
That's that BINO energy.
Shout out to Lisa M. Said, just because, brother, thank you for all you do. I appreciate you.
That's that BINO energy.
Shout out to 3-Man Podcast. He said, doubling up, keep cooking.
That's that BINO energy.
Shout out to Terenzo. He said, for the Gen X and BINO Inc. funds, the Gen X analogy of why YNs for immature females exist is mother effing priceless.
That's that BINO energy.
So now that we've gotten past the BINO roll call, I got to pull this video up. So, going back to what I said, how many of y'all were here when the Karmelo Anthony situation first happened and they raised all of this money, and then the rumors started coming out about them moving into a $900,000 house and buying an Escalade? All of these rumors started coming out, and I went ham. I was like, yo, this seemed like a hustle. This seemed like they doing some extra BS, right? And then on top of that, a couple of days ago, I did a live stream, and the title of the live stream, if y'all remember, in fact, hold on, let me see if I can find the image. See if I can find the thumbnail. So this was one of them that I did, right? This was one that I did right here. And in this video, I talked about the money. I talked about how, in fact, there was one other video, if I remember correctly, where I talked about how our culture has gotten to the point. In fact, this is the one right here. This is the one where I talked about it. This is the one right here. That's the one right there. They raised $630,000 and he still got found guilty. And in that video, I talked about how you have these look, I'm gonna tell you right now, to you people that keep coming in here trying to troll, you're just gonna get blocked. You're just gonna get banned. Because really, to be truthfully honest, it's really fucking pathetic. It's really pathetic that when you see somebody talking about some shit you don't agree with, you got to jump in the chat room and say a bunch of goofy ass shit. It's weak as fuck. You have no idea how weak it is. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, I pointed out the fact that you have a new black hustle. The new black hustle is black people, black communities, black families profiting off of the bodies of black boys, profiting off of them being YNs or getting caught up in trouble, profiting off of them losing their lives. This seems like the new hustle. Now, if y'all remember, I said this the other day. I talked about this the other day. How many of y'all remember this? Press 1 if y'all remember me talking about this. This was a few days ago. And I've even addressed this before. Now, the reason why at the beginning of the live stream I said I love being right, because I've been saying this. I've been saying something wonky is going on with the money as it pertains to Karmelo's parents. I've been saying this shit. And Cat's been ignoring it. I was even asked when I was on Trey's panel, do you believe that they spent the money on other stuff? There was even people that said that was debunked, right? I was even asked about Charleston White, because you know Charleston White did the video. Initially, Charleston White was speaking like I was speaking about Karmelo taking a life and this, that, and the third and all of that. And then he changed up. He said, I spoke to the father and, you know, I done changed my mind and I'm going to help them and this, that, and the third and all of that, right? How many of y'all saw that, right? Y'all saw Charleston White switch up, because initially he was saying that Karmelo was YN and was a troublemaker or whatever. Then he said he spoke to the father and he changed his mind because now he got new information and now he going to help in this, that, and the third. Right? So he switched up and went all in on some, I'm going to help them. I'm going to do what I got to do. And then this video popped up. Y'all ready?
I'm sorry to have to announce. I'm sorry that I have to announce. I am stepping away from the Karmelo Anthony family. I am removing myself from the Karmelo Anthony's case. I am no longer involved with the family. And here's why. I'm not getting in bed with Black Lives Matter. I'm not getting in bed with Benjamin Crump. I'm not getting in bed with Dominique Alexander. And I'm not playing for money to pay people bills. This money is going to the Boys Appeal. The rest of the money goes back to the donors. I was starting to feel like I was being used for my influence and my connections and resources. When I tell you we raised over $1 million one day, privately, quietly, they wanted to start another GoFundMe. I said, no, I'm not doing the GoFundMe. They wanted to know, after we pay for the pill, will the money go to them? No. The extra money don't go back to you. It goes back to the people who gave it. It don't go to nothing else. The money is for the pill. His daddy in the way. I don't like weak. I hate weak men. I'd rather stand with a strong daddy like that meth cap man than his black weak father trying to play victim. Now, nigga, your son's still living. Hug him, send him some books to read. I got the money. Let's start to work on the pill. Anything else don't make sense. Nigga, what's wrong with you? And I'm telling the nigga, say, homie, everybody believe you playing for the money, nigga. And I'm starting to believe you using me for it. You want to get the money, but then disassociate yourself from me? Nigga, I'm here for that boy. I'm here for your son, nigga. And if this money don't go directly to your son's appeal, you don't get this money. We sent it back. But right is right. And if we doing an appeal, the money goes to appeal, not house bills. Not house bills.
So look at this shit. Look at this shit. These the type of dumbass niggas I be talking about. Read that, y'all. Read that. I am that somebody said Charleston White going to the highest bidder. What do you mean the highest bidder? He's the one raising the damn money. He was the one raising the damn money. Then he said, trying to play both sides. Play both sides of what? Dumbass nigga. Play both sides of what? Oh, I know. Charleston White coming out telling this shit exposes the shit that we already knew, and you butthurt about it because it don't fit your fucking narrative. Right? This is what I mean. This is the level of stupidity that we dealing with. In fact, it's not even stupidity. It's willful ignorance. It's willful ignorance. Now, what did I say when this first happened and they was given the press conference and the father wasn't saying shit? What did I say? Didn't I say, how many of y'all remember? How many of y'all remember when, hold on for a second, y'all. Hold on for a second. What's sad? What's sad? What's sad? Let me know. The BLM did the same move. No, here's the thing. That's not what's sad. That's not what's sad. I'm gonna tell you what's sad. BLM doing what they did. The Anthony family possibly doing what we think they're doing. That ain't the sad part. The sad part is black folk won't collectively call the shit out. All you gotta do is create the umbrella of pro-blackness, and everybody will just ignore the bullshit for the sake of supposed unity. He's trying to help Karmelo, but also trying to stay in the Metcalf and racist good grace. Do you have any idea? Bro, I can't even begin to analyze how fucking stupid that goddamn statement is. Whoever you are, if you truly believe that, you are the dumbest son of a bitch alive. Matter of fact, get the fuck out of my chat room. Take your ignorant ass to a Project Dice game or something, nigga. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? When it comes to Charleston White. And y'all know I don't hang on every word Charleston White says, right? But what possible benefit does he get from coming out and saying this? What possible benefit does he get from coming out and saying this? This is the third time. No, this is the second time he's had to change his mind. In fact, you want to know why? Like, here's the thing. I can tell when Charleston White is being performative and when he's not. The reason why, see, these niggas don't have critical thinking. Either they don't have critical thinking or they're being willfully ignorant. They're pretending because they want to be biased, right? And they're looking for confirmation bias, right? This is how I know he's telling the truth. When he says, in the video, this is what he said. He said the father was in the way, and he said the father was weak. How many of y'all remember when this first happened? I was on a live stream, and I said, have y'all ever noticed every time something like this happens, it's just the mother giving a press conference and talking about the situation? Or if there's a man, if there's a father, he's just standing next to the mother, not saying shit. Do y'all remember me going off about that? Do y'all remember me being super pissed about that and saying, what the hell is wrong with black men of today? Why are you niggas so matriarchal? If something happens with a white kid, the father is the most vocal. But when something happened to a black kid, the mother is the most vocal, and the father's just standing there like a knot on a damn log. So when Charleston White said, I don't like weak men, I knew, one, he's telling the truth about that. The next thing that he said the family wanted to know if the money that's left over from the appeal, would that go to them? And he said, no. If there's money left over from the appeal, we gonna give it back to the people that donated. Right? How do we know that he's telling the truth about that? How do we know that Charleston White is telling the truth about that part? Well, didn't I read for you? Didn't I read for you what they said they put on the Give, Send, Go? Didn't I read that? Didn't they put on the Give, Send, Go that the money they was collecting was not going to explicitly go towards the legal defense? That some of it was going to go towards life expenses, transportation, relocation to a safer location, all of this shit. So if they put that in the Give, Send, Go initially for the initial legal defense fund, why wouldn't they expect to use some of the money that they raised from the appeal for whatever else they want? See, I'm gonna tell you what this is. I'm gonna tell you what this is. What this is that they figured out, oh, this is an opportunity for us to collect a bunch of money. Now, sure, we'll use some of it for the legal defense, but we can use the rest for other stuff. Now, there's another component that's added in here. The other component is the moment that Karmelo was found guilty, the Give, Send, Go got shut down. So when Charleston White offers his services, that opens up the door for them to collect more money again. So, of course, they're going to ask him, if there's any money left over, does it go to us? What else did he say? He said that they wanted to start another GoFundMe. See, they can't start a GoFundMe, but somebody else could do it for them, which is why Charleston White said, I feel like they were trying to use me. And what did he say at the end of the video? He said, this money that we raising is for his appeal. It ain't for paying y'all's bills. Why would he say that? Why would he say that? Why would he say that in addition to the fact that when they initially set up their Give, Send, Go, they stated that they was going to use some of that money for bills. So if they said it initially, why would he be lying about it right now? Does that make any sense? No, let me tell you what happened, since you Negroes want to be disingenuous and dishonest. This is what happened. Initially, Charleston White was doing his Charleston White thing. He saw all of the black people defending Karmelo, and he said, oh, you know what? I'm going to be a contrarian, and I'm going to go against Karmelo Anthony because it'll get views. And that's what he did. And then he had a conversation with the father, and the father gave him a sob story, touched his heart. So then he changed his mind. He said, you know what? I had a conversation with the daddy, and I see what it is, and I'm going to use my resources, and I'm going to help them, and this, that, and the third, and blah, blah, blah. And probably was gung-ho because, look, you got to keep in mind, that's what Charleston White do. That's what he originally did before he came to the internet. Charleston White is an activist who tries his best to help young boys, especially young boys that have been incarcerated. If you know anything about Charleston White, you know his main modus operandi when it comes to activism is helping young boys who have been convicted, who are in prison. So it doesn't surprise me that once the father called him up and started talking to him, it hit him in his heart because that's his thing. So he probably started going all out, calling who he could call, trying to get as many people as he can to raise money and all of that, and used all of his network and all of his resources and all of that shit. And you know what he found out? He kept having conversations with that father. And you know what Charleston White figured out? Which is why he put this video out. He ain't going to come out and say it explicitly because his pro-blackness won't let him do it. But what he figured out is that that father is full of shit. That's what he figured out. That's what he figured out. He figured out they don't give a damn about that boy. He figured out what they care about is using this situation to capitalize. That's what Charleston White figured out, and that's the whole reason why he went live and did that video. Got an orange finger from Cheetos. That's what he figured out. That's what he figured out. And now you little goofy Negroes are coming in here talking about some, oh, he just tried to get in the good graces of white people. No, he just exposed something and your ass don't like it. Because the more time marches by, the more information comes out, the more you niggas is starting to realize you on the wrong side of history. The more y'all starting to realize you don't know what you're talking about. The more you starting to realize you done jumped out the damn window and jumped out of your body for a damn cause that ain't even really a cause dealing with race. That's what it is. And look, I know you want to get upset, but it's okay to be wrong. It's okay. You know what makes it worse? You know when being wrong is a bad thing? When you refuse to admit it. When you refuse to admit it. See, there's a bunch of you right now that's still in denial about Umar Johnson and that school. I see y'all doing it every day. You act like black folk don't have no power, but the funniest thing about it is there's a bunch of black folks that have realized just how much power black folks have. And you know what they do? They use that to their advantage. There's a bunch of hustlers out here, a bunch of grifters, a bunch of criminals that know all they got to do is pander to you and pull on those pro-black racial heartstrings, and they can get anything they want out of you. They could steal your money right in front of your face, and ain't nothing you gonna do about it because you keeping hope alive that they gonna come through. It's like I'm gonna tell you what a lot of these individuals are doing. Dr. Umar Johnson, the Anthony family, Boyce Watkins, Mark Lamont Hill, Al Sharpton, all of these individuals, you know who they are? They're Alonzo from Training Day. All of them. They are Alonzo from Training Day. Now, you're probably saying, wait a minute, Angry Man, hold on for a second. What are you talking about? Wait a minute. Alonzo was a psychopath. No. I'm not talking about the character Alonzo. I'm talking about the character that Denzel played. Now, some of you are going to say, wait a minute, Angry Man, that's the same thing. No, it's not. It's not. This is what I need you to understand. Every movie Denzel play in, he's still Denzel. Now, even though we looked at this character as Alonzo, he was still Denzel. So because he was still Denzel, we had the expectation of Denzel. We can acknowledge that that's Alonzo, but we had difficulty with it because we're not used to Denzel playing a character that does not have the qualities of Denzel. See, every movie Denzel played in, Denzel was a good guy. He was a honorable man. He was a forthright, righteous human being, which is not too far from who he is as a person. So if you guys remember the first time you watched Training Day, all through that movie, you were in disbelief. And if you were like me, you were waiting for the moment in the movie where it's revealed that he wasn't really a bad guy. He was just doing all of that stuff for a particular purpose. He was just acting that way because that was his role as an undercover cop. We was watching, if you watched it the first time, you was holding out hope all the way up to the end of the movie, all the way up to the Russian shooting him. You was waiting for it to be revealed that he was really a good guy because he had never played the villain before. He had never played the villain before, and we didn't want to see him be a villain. And this is how y'all look at these pro-black niggas. You believe that all pro-black people are people that show themselves to be pro-black. You believe they're righteous. You believe they're good people. You believe they have to be in order to be pro-black. Because growing up, you was always taught that the worst type of black people was the black people that was anti-black, was the black people that was sellouts, was the black people that was coons and Sambos and all of that shit. You was taught that the best of us were pro-black. And that's why every single time one of these raggedy niggas want to fool y'all's ass, the first thing they do is they put on the pro-black disguise. And then they go about their bullshit. They go about their business of doing all kinds of nefarious shit. And they can literally steal right in front of you. They could be looking you right in the face, talking about some power to the people, brother. And you holding out hope. Just like when you watch Training Day. You're holding out hope that they're going to be the good guy. That, you know, there's no way they're a villain. There's a bunch of you right now sitting there talking about some Dr. Umar's going to open that school any day now. Any day now, he's going to open that school. It's been 10 years, you delusional fuck. When are you going to wake up? When are you going to wake up and realize that one of the biggest grifts in modern history is the pseudo pro-black niggas that act like they love black people so much? When are you going to realize that shit? When are you going to realize it? How many do it take? Brother Polite, Dr. Malachi York. How many do it take? Dr. Umar Johnson, Afatunde, Unka Kunte. Like, how many do it take? Nature Boy. How many do it take? But you holding out hope. Nah, there's no way. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way he been collecting all of this money from us to open a school and he ain't gonna open a school. There's no way. There's no way that family would be raising money for that boy's legal defense and spent a fraction of the money on his legal defense and use the rest of it for their lifestyle. There's no way. I think y'all are underestimating what people will do when the money's in front of them. I think y'all are underestimating it. I think y'all don't realize how quickly a human being can justify their bullshit when it is financially beneficial. You got all these niggas that be like, oh, I would never sell out. You ain't never had the check in front of you. You ain't never had the money in front of you. That's when you know. That's when you know. And even if you the type of person that's strong enough to withstand it the first time, it don't mean you gonna withstand it when they spin the block on your ass. Because everybody was out here praising Dave Chappelle. He didn't take the 30 million. He went to Africa, and what he did, he spent his ass right back around. The clues are there. I had to sit there and watch Key and Peele do my show. I took my son to go see Kevin Hart, and he had a packed stadium. Let me tell you something that you may not realize, but I realized it. That thing that y'all praised Dave Chappelle for turning down that 30 million, that's one of his biggest regrets. Yeah, I fucking said it. I said it. I said it. I'd tell him in person if I saw him. I know that's your biggest regret. That's why you brought your ass back a little bigger, a little chunkier, and start tap dancing immediately. Mm-hmm. He might got y'all fooled. He ain't got me fooled. He might have y'all fooled, but he ain't got me fooled. Because I'm going to tell you right now, anytime I see anybody black talking all that pro-black shit, in this day and age, I side-eye him. And you know why I side-eye him? Because there's no need for pro-blackness today. Yeah. Yeah, I said that shit. I said that shit. The reason why you needed pro-blackness in the 50s and the 60s, because of the environment, because of Jim Crow, because of the blatant, in-your-face, violent racism that existed. You don't have, see, here's the thing, in this day and age, you don't have nowhere near the level of racism that you used to have. The potency of it ain't there no more. And you look around now and you look at black folk and you say, man, family ain't family no more. Man, we not together the way we used to be. Man, we not unified the way we used to be. Well, there's a reason why. The reason why is because the only reason you were unified before, the only reason you were together before, the only reason you were a close-knit family is because you didn't have a fucking choice. You weren't allowed to live wherever you wanted to live. You had to live in a black community. You had to frequent black businesses. Shit was segregated. And even if it wasn't segregated, you didn't go around other groups of people because they could get away with doing whatever the fuck they wanted to do to you. So you didn't have no choice. This is why I always say black people are more free today than they've ever been. And the problem is you don't know how to function. See, today, if you're going to be unified, it has to be based on your values. And y'all aren't used to that. You're not used to that. See, the values you had back in the day were the result of you only being around each other and trying your best to dispel the myth of black folk being less than. So back in the day, the reason why you had morals and values and was righteous and all of that shit, quite honestly, is because you was trying to prove to white folk that you were human, that you were civilized. That's the reason why back in the day, you had all of those wonderful qualities. It wasn't because you believed in it. It was because there was propaganda coming out of white folks' mouth that was saying you was animalistic, that was saying you was a criminal, that was saying you was all of these horrible things. So black folk back then was trying their best to prove to the world that they were none of those things, because in their mind, they thought, if I can prove to the world my righteousness, if I can prove to the world that we're civilized, maybe they'll stop brutalizing us. And they're not brutalizing you today. So today, you don't have anything to prove. Today, you don't have to prove that you're a human. Today, you don't have to prove that you're civilized, which is why you don't act civilized today. See, the reason why you niggas act a fool today is because you're free. This is why I keep saying it. I keep saying it over and over. You have more freedom than you have ever had in your life. Racism is nowhere near what it was. The same level of vitriol that these white folk used to have for you, it is virtually non-existent. It may exist in the high places. It may exist in the institutions, but your everyday life, it ain't there. It ain't there outside of a thought that one of them might be having as you walk by, but they're not going to express it. They're not going to say it. Somebody walks by and they thinking, I can't stand niggas. They ain't going to say that shit to you. In fact, as they walk by you, they're hoping and praying that you don't rob them. They're hoping and praying that you don't just decide to haul back and knock them the hell out. Many of them are terrified of you, the same way you used to be terrified of them. And guess what? You've been able to instill that fear without any institutional power. Without any institutional power. And many of them are terrified of you. That is their biggest fear. One of you running up on them and beating the shit out. They are terrified of that. But the reason why you operate the way you operate, to move the way you move, is because you have no incentive. You're so used to someone else giving you your incentive. You're so used to someone else doing something and then you have to react to it. That's the reason why every time a racial situation happens, this is when you're the most vocal, because you don't know how to act. You only know how to react. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't hear me. See, if you knew how to act, you wouldn't need Jim Crow to be close. If you knew how to act, you wouldn't need segregation just to frequent black businesses and support your own fucking people. If you knew how to act, you wouldn't need the watchful eye and disapproving stare of white folks for you to dress nice, clean up, act civilized, stand up straight, marry before you have kids, take care of your children. If you knew how to act, you could do that just off the strength of your own value system instead of doing it because you're worried about what white folk think about you. Ooh-wee, you don't want to hear this. See, I know you niggas more than you ever have known yourself. But I don't know why you surprised, because many of you will look at me and be like, ain't nobody trying to hear nothing you got to say with your yellow ass. Nigga, please, it's always been us yellow niggas that had to school you. Yeah, I'm going there too. What color was Brother Malcolm? What color was Huey P. Newton? What color is the Honorable Minister Farrakhan? It's always been us having to school you. Now, why is it always a light-skinned nigga? I'm going to tell you why. Because we have the very unique situation of being caught dead center in the middle of the two main archetypes in this country and this world, white and black. To the white folk, we ain't white. And to darker black folk, we ain't black enough. So we get to experience what both of you experience. We get to experience the hatred that you black folks have for white folk, but we also get to experience the prejudice that white folk have for black folk. And that's why we're in a unique position to really understand what the fuck is going on. But again, like I said, you don't know how to act. You only know how to react. And that's the only reason why you'll do certain things, is because you've been forced to do it. See, your marriage rate isn't going to go up until you're forced to do it. The rate to which you delete your babies is not going to go down until someone forces you to do it. You're not going to stop being YNs and 304s until someone forces you to do it. See, back in the day, when you engaged in certain behavior, it gave white folk, racist white folk, the excuse they needed to really go ham. You know, back in the day, they would go ham even if they didn't have an excuse. So when you did some, that just made it that much more easier. See, back in the day, they wanted to do something to you anyway. So when you decided you wanted to be a criminal or you wanted to do some shit that wasn't cool, oh, that was the, word. Thank you. Now I can go ahead and do what I wanted to do in the first place. So back then, Black parents did everything in their power to make sure they didn't raise children that were criminals, because they knew that if you committed a crime and put yourself at their mercy, they knew if you was a law-abiding citizen, you had to worry about it. So let's just go ahead and be law-abiding so we don't make it easier. And that's why today I can tell you definitively, no matter how much you black folk run around here trying to scream racism 24/7, you just like the women out here that claim they scared of men. Get the fuck out of here. You know you're not. The same way I know a woman ain't scared of a man, I know you don't believe the world is as racist as you claim it is. You know how I know? Because if a woman was scared of a man, she wouldn't stand in his face and curse him out in public. If a woman was scared of a man, she wouldn't be sleeping with his homeboy, knowing she could get caught. The same way that if you really believed that the world was as racist as you claim it is, that family wouldn't have moved their goofy asses to Frisco. If you truly believe this world was as racist as you think it is, none of you would live anywhere other than predominantly black neighborhoods. None of you would work anywhere other than predominantly black businesses. None of you would go to restaurants, banks, grocery stores, any business other than predominantly black businesses. So you can stop lying. You can stop lying. You do not believe that the damn world is racist as you claim it is. You don't believe that. You don't believe that. I'm going to tell you how I know. I'm going to tell you another reason I know. Press 1 if y'all want to know how I can prove that modern black people do not truly believe this country is racist. Press 1, I'll prove it to you right now. If modern black people truly believe that this country is still as racist as it was during the Jim Crow era, why was y'all surprised about the 35-year sentence that they just gave Karmelo? Why was you surprised? Why are you having conversations about getting reparations? Huh? I'm going to tell you why you were surprised. I'm going to tell you why you're surprised every time something happens. The reason why you're surprised is because you truly believe that this country has progressed. You truly believe that when you go to court, they're going to be fair. This is why when they do something that you perceive as not fair, you're surprised. This is why when you get pulled over by a white cop, you start yelling about your rights. Because if you really thought that this country was super racist, the moment you got pulled over by a cop, the only thing you would do is comply. You would do everything in your power to make sure that cop ain't agitated. But is that what you do? No. No. I remember we used to joke about the fact that there was a video where this cop pulled over a white guy and he gave him a ticket, and the white guy tore up the ticket and threw it out the window. And the cop told him, "You don't pick that up, I'm going to get you for littering." And he swung open the door and jumped out of the truck. Oh, my God, it was going off. And we was like, wow, look at what they can get away with. That's how you niggas act today. The way that white guy was acting, that's how you niggas act today when you get pulled over by white cops. I have watched you Negroes curse the police out. There's no way you believe that this country is as racist as it used to be acting like that. There's no way. There's no way. You know, like, it's just like when you go around people, you go around other people or whatever, right? You go around other people. You know how you know which husbands don't play when it comes to their wife. To the point of being damn near abusive. You know how you know? By the wife's behavior. You know how you know which kids get their ass whooped and which ones don't? By the kids' behavior. You're not going to tell me that you live in an oppressive country where you have absolutely no power and you think that the country is so racist that at any given moment they're going to throw you back in chains and put you back in slavery, and you out here acting an entire fool every damn day. There's no way. There's absolutely no way that you believe that shit. Because the way you niggas act, I'm going to tell you how you act. You act like spoiled, entitled Americans. That's how you act. You act no different than the white folk that you claim have white privilege. In fact, some of you act worse. Some of you act worse, and I'm going to tell you why. Because many of you believe just because of slavery and Jim Crow that you are entitled to act a damn fool. FBGG talking about, come on, AM, come on my ass. Pause. Ain't no come on. Ain't no come on. You know it's the damn truth. You know it's the damn truth. Now, will the average black person yell that racism still exists? Absolutely. They got to cling to that. They got to cling to that. because they believe it's the get out of jail free card. But here's the only problem with that. Why would complaining about racism work if these white folk were racist? Why would it work? The only white people that's going to listen to your concerns about racism are the ones who ain't racist. So why would you be complaining to white folk that you believe are racist? It doesn't make logical sense. You know damn well the ones you deal with on a regular basis ain't racist, because if they were, they wouldn't give a damn about nothing you got to say. See, the funny thing about it is y'all love to sit up here and talk about this one racist and that one racist. Y'all ain't been around no racist white folk. You ain't been around no racist white folk. I remember in when I was a kid, I remember the first time I came to VA, south side of VA, in the country. There was this one store. You go in this country ass store and it be white folk just sitting in there chilling. Not the store owner. They just cool with the store owner. They just be sitting in there shooting the shit, right? Look like a scene from Hee Haw. You black and you walk into that damn store and they look at your ass like you ain't supposed to be free. You ain't never, you Negroes, there's a bunch of you that swear up and down you know racism. You don't know racism. You don't know real racism. You've never seen it. You've never witnessed it. You've never witnessed it. And I'm telling you right now, the white folk that you claim are racist today, please. They might not like your ass, but that don't necessarily mean they're racist. Trust me, if you're ever, as a black person, if you're ever in the damn company of a racist, you will know it. I promise you'll know it. Because they're going to make for certain that they say something to let you know. They want your ass to know. You feel me? They gonna make for certain. I want that nigga to know. I want your ass to know it. So there ain't no ifs, ands, and buts. There ain't no mystery about it. Because that's one thing about racist white people. They are not ashamed of being racist. That's the part y'all don't get. That's why when y'all be talking all that shit about Donald Trump, I said, let me tell you something. Ain't no white man that's a true racist gonna go out of his way to be around black people like that. It shit ain't gonna happen. That shit ain't gonna happen. Not in this era. That's not gonna happen. You can say what you want to say. Let me go to these super chats.
It's that time again. We going up. It's time to read the super chats.
Let's see who we got here. So, first and foremost, let me give a shout out to Joe. He said, BINO roll call.
That's that. That's that. BINO energy.
Shout out to William. He said, appreciate your show.
That's that. That's that. BINO energy.
Let's see. Shout out to Corky. Appreciate you. Shout out to Tony251. Shout out to Joshua. Said his parents actually make me feel bad for Karmelo. Yeah. Which is crazy. That's nasty work. Shout out to Vincent. He said great show supporting the channel. Shout out to Filthy Ambitions for the membership. Shout out to Kelly. Appreciate you. Shout out to Crossroads. Said just showing support. Thanks for the show, AM. Shout out to Peter A. I guess that's how you pronounce that. Appreciate you. And shout out to David. Appreciate you. And shout out to everybody else that contributed. Appreciate you. And just so you guys know, if you drop more than $5 on the super chat, I will display your message, but I ain't reading it. You got to spend more than $2 to get me to read it. That's just what it is. You feel me? But let me get to my soliloquy about this whole situation. So recently, the public was told this case was about justice and about funding and appeal. Charleston White, who briefly stepped into the Karmelo Anthony case before stepping away, is now telling a different story. According to him, the money raised was never really about the appeal at all. That's where we start. When I raised the question early on, the response was that I didn't know what I was talking about, and that those people didn't spend any money. They didn't have access to it. But Charleston White isn't an outsider. He's not an outside critic. He was close enough to the situation to form his own opinion. He was gung-ho about it, and he chose to walk away from it. Now, why is that? When someone with that kind of proximity arrives at the same conclusion, it deserves a serious look. We can't ignore it. From the beginning, he described wait a minute. Hold on for a second, y'all. Oh, I'm bugging. I thought somebody wanted smoke for a second. What in the fuck? Hold on 1 second, you guys. What is going on? We're having some technical difficulties. Well, that's some bullshit. Anyway, from the beginning, I described this case as two very different realities sitting side by side. On one side, you got the family grieving the son that they just lost. On the other side, you got fundraising in an effort to grow a legal defense, right? The question is whether those donations were truly about a legal defense and now an appeal, or was it really about something else entirely? By most accounts, when it comes to the fundraising for the appeal, they brought in over $1 million in roughly a single day. This is what Charleston White said. I don't know how true this is, but he claimed they raised this money privately and quietly. That figure is worth sitting with. Many families who have lost a child to violence never see anything close to that kind of support. A sum that large raised that quickly invites a fair and obvious question about where it was ultimately meant to go. Now, I want to be precise here because the standard requires it. This is what Charleston White claims, not me. And it's not a proven fact. According to him, allegedly, the intention was for the leftover donation money to be directed to the family rather than back to the people who donated it. Now, I can't speak to what was said in private. I can only report what has been stated publicly and note that it aligns with concerns I've already raised. Because I already said this to y'all numerous times. There are really only two explanations for raising money on this scale. First is a legitimate legal defense, with every dollar accounted for and directed towards the appeal. The second is an effort to capitalize on public sympathy. Those two things cannot be true at the same time, and the public deserves clarity on which one it actually is. I've raised this concern before, though, and it's uncomfortable to talk about. There's a recurring pattern of Black families and a wider issue with our community basically using the tragedies of Black boys, whether they're prosecuted or lose their life, as a source of profit. Now, I don't know why nobody wants to address that. Nobody wants to dig into that, but it's sad. It's sad when you see this pattern of people benefiting off of the misery, death, and incarceration of people that look the same as you. But for some reason, we don't want to hold our own accountable. Accountability that only points outward isn't accountability at all. Asking where the money went isn't an attack on this family. It's a refusal to look away from something we've allowed to become a routine. This is bigger than just one case. What happened here fits a cycle we've seen repeat over and over. A Black boy is prosecuted or loses his life. The community rallies, and the moment quickly becomes a fundraising opportunity. The emotional appeal comes first. The donations follow, and the hard questions about where that money goes rarely get asked out loud. The people running these efforts are counting on the grief to outrun the scrutiny. That's the part we have to be honest about. So the question remains and is simple. Where did all the money go? Charleston White has given his account. I raised my concerns earlier, not because of who's involved, but because the pattern keeps repeating and someone has to name it. So I'm going to keep watching as they keep doing stuff and more of this story unfolds. And we're going to finally get to see what this shit is really about, hopefully, because I don't see this story going anywhere anytime soon. And trust and believe, there's one thing that I know for certain about anybody that's money hungry and willing to do anything for it. They're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. So if this is what it's really about, if it's really about the money, we're definitely going to find out. But with that being said, shout out to everybody that came through. I appreciate you guys. Shout out to Hollow Ninja. He said these cats went from wearing skirts to purses and now thongs. Actually, all the above. Take me out of this era, AM. And I'm 98, the start of Gen Z, shaking my effing head. But like I said, man, shout out to everybody that came through. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you guys for showing love as always. Shout out to everybody that contributed, and definitely shout out to the sponsors of the show. Y'all already know what it is, man. I'm going to keep on checking out any of the new developments on this story. But other than that, I'm going to holler at you guys later. Deuces.
The session is closed. The board is dismissed.
I gave you the blueprint, now go build a estate. Stop arguing with broke, man, stop debating with fate. We don't negotiate value, we dictate the price. You watch the show for free, I just gave you a slice. But the real ones know where the equity lives. We taking everything, we got nothing to give. The manual is waiting, you know where it's at. This ain't a gamble, it's a guaranteed bet.
Build, protect, lead. Go and plant the seed. Build, protect, lead. That's the code we need. Go to the side, yeah, secure the command. The Angryman Channel, the standard of the land.
TheAngrymanChannel.com.
Get the shirt, get the boots.
Start watching, start working. We up.
The session is closed. The board is dismissed.